a playlist original.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another new episode of Back to the Blockbuster. My name is Gaius Bowling, and I am joined once again by Zod and Jack Gonzalez.
The boys,
the fellas. How we doing?
Doing good. To all the listeners out there, I don't know why, but I changed my name to General Zod today on the Zencaster, the software we use to record, and I think it means I'm going to be devil's advocate today.
Ooh.
You're just going to be like throwing in bombs and like making us upset.
Throwing in hot topics left and right.
He's going to take my spot today.
Well, yeah, today like we've had so many like themed episodes the last few weeks, but we decided to do one that's just all news, all hot topics because CinemaCon's going on in Vegas right now. It's like a movie trade show. Sony's there, Warner Brothers, Universal, all the big ones. They basically show off to theater exhibitors all the future things they have coming out within like the next year or two to kind of get people excited for all their content. The cool thing about it is that if you get to go when you're press physically, you get to see all this stuff early, like early footage. And like last year, Chris, who is our editor-in-chief at Joe Blow, he saw Ghostbusters Afterlife like months earlier before it came out. He's seeing Top Gun this week as well there.
Nice.
They showed the first 15 minutes of Across the Spider-Verse. There's like a lot of stuff they've been kind of previewing while they're there.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks though is that for those of us who didn't go, we can only really read descriptions of what the footage is because they don't really release it online. They don't release it online until later, and they think this is a good way to get the general public excited for what they have.
I personally think it's one of the best social media days because you just get hit with like every hour a flurry of new information. It's just a good entertaining day online.
And like,
just
and then
news
like
dropping
something
left and right.
Yeah, some of the news is like obvious too. It's like, oh, like, do I need to post that? Because we all like they just said that Robert Pattinson's officially coming back for the Batman
As
sequel.
Batman, like no shit, guys, no shit. Robert Pattinson's back.
Wait, yeah, guys. I just want to point out that I don't think you mentioned Warner Brothers going to this because they are just in a fucking shitstorm.
Yeah, there's a lot of
for Robert Pattinson. Did he only sign a one movie deal, and they were waiting to see the response that he got?
I think he signed on for more than one. From what I understand, he signed on for more than one.
It just because I feel like he wouldn't have signed the deal unless he had gotten at least a 2-movie deal, and then I mean, I guess they just officially announced it to the masses.
Yeah, because he talked about it in interviews too. That he like talked about
think that. With him. Oh, okay. I was gonna say that I think because of his history of like being such a what am I to say here
like franchise
independent. Yeah, if not a very anti after Twilight. So
yeah, he's probably hesitant for signing anything on the dotted line after that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be terrified too if I was him. But I mean, if you're gonna do Batman, it's like pretty much guaranteed that you have to do at least 3 movies.
Yeah,
so funny
in some way, shape, or form.
So actually, I just rewatched it this last weekend on HBO Max. First time I'd seen it again since seeing it in the theater, and it was definitely different seeing it not only on the small screen, but just in general seeing it again for the second time. There were a few more things that kind of stood out to me that I actually didn't like compared to when I watched it the first time. For me, gosh, it was. I think I kind of mentioned this in the episode where we talked about it, but it's like the use of like sort of the 2020 technology, seeing on the screen literally a phone screen with the Riddler FaceTiming Batman and seeing Batman's little triangle or little rectangle in the top left. Like that made it looked so fucking stupid on screen. Like I don't think it really got to me when I first saw it. I was like, it looks like something that a College Humor video would do where you literally just see the cowl in the top left and nothing. I was like, this makes no sense. Like that shouldn't necessarily be in a Batman movie. It just looked so strange to me. And just like a few other those things of just like the technology, like constantly just watching a screen with, it's like I was watching a Discord server with the Riddler, which is, I mean, it makes sense. It's how he got his followers, how to get the guys to go and shoot up the rally. But like, gosh, I don't know. It definitely kind of threw me for a different loop when I was rewatching it again.
I'm afraid I'm going to have that feeling when I watch it again, because other people have said that too, that they felt like less about it watching it like at home on HBO Max. Not like for the second time in the theater, but like watching it like at home now that it's on streaming. And like people I kind of trust have said that. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to feel the same way, like picking it apart a bit more than I did when I first saw it.
But the best part about it is that I got to watch the car chase like 4 times in a row. I just rewound it and just got to rewatch it like 4 times because that scene is so epic.
See, there's perks.
So I'm not proud of what I'm going to do right now, but I think I might backtrack. This being my favorite Batman movie. I might, because for all the reasons that you guys are saying too, like I've watched this, like my statement of like I like this movie if I can like fall asleep to it and like nice. Like Zodiac is a perfect example. It's like I'm not missing anything. With this, I literally fall asleep at the same exact point every single time. It's right before Gil Coulson's head like blows up, and it's like, dude, this has already been an hour and a half in, and I'm not like to the car chase scene, to Falcone, to anything. So it's like it really does drag on. I like, to be honest, I don't think I've seen the Riddler interrogation scene on HBO Max, and I've actually started the movie 4 times. So it definitely is a little bit. I think the adrenaline of seeing it in theaters kept me awake and alive. But when you put it at home, it's kind of just like it's a good movie to watch, but you got to be dedicated to watching it. And then again, just literally just using the same like 4 songs over again for the score. Sorry, guys. That's just it's kind of getting repetitive too with that.
It's a good score.
But on the other side of that coin, I have been seeing a lot of Easter eggs that are coming about of the movie that people now that they have time to dissect it, which I think are pretty cool. Like there's one scene when they're like panning away from the iceberg lounge and they see this one apartment with its light on, and you do find out later that it's the Riddler, but you actually see the Riddler like taking photographs with his long ass camera like for a quick second. So there's definitely Easter eggs to be found that can make this movie like really good, but I think I'm gonna have to backtrack my my statement of saying it's my favorite because I can watch all of Dark Knight and stay awake at like 12 o'clock at night. This I'm gonna fall asleep to unless I put it to a certain scene and watch it.
Yeah, and also, Jack, to your point too, the interrogation scene, way less thrilling on HBO than it was in the theater. Like, I didn't get that same sense of, oh my gosh, he's about to out Bruce Wayne. I was just kind of like, oh, this is a weird dude in a cell who's like, plan is kind of going right, but also Batman's not doing it for the right reason. Like, all these different kind of things that it just didn't have that same sort of gripping edge as it did when it was in the theater as it did when I was watching it. And
like anything with Falcone, like anything with Falcone and Selena Kyle, like I really just didn't care about it in the end. Mm-hmm. Like it's like that whole scene of him being in the bottom of the iceberg lounge when she's like, "You're my father" and all this stuff. It's like at the end of the day, like that didn't have any weight to the movie in the sense of the only way it held weight is that it forced Catwoman to go to Bloodhaven, which is awesome name drop for Nightwing's like to be city, but. Yeah, I mean, they gotta show out with the next one for me to be again really excited for it, and that's what I'm worried about. They might use the Joker too soon, but as we said in the other one, like they could use the Court of Owls as it, and I'll be all in on using the Court of Owls as like the main antagonist with like Joker sprinkled in. So I'm excited for the second ones because I think that also Matt Reeves's Apes movies got better as they went along with more story behind it. So. Yeah, not to talk too long about the Batman.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch those.
Not
They're all really
good.
good.
Batman.
Yeah, it's funny because those movies, the Ape movies, came out so long like apart from each other that you forget fucking James Franco is in the first one. It's just like it becomes the Andy Serkis show after that, and you're like, wait, he was tied to that franchise? The first one's just such a different movie than all the other ones.
I feel like they played it safe with the first one. Like they had to make sure that people would like kind of enjoy it, and then they kind of did whatever they wanted to with like the second and third one. They kind of went all out on like this is just about the apes. Who really cares about like the human characters that much? I think that's why that first one feels more like a poppy kind of franchise movie, and then they kind of get more like deep the more they go on.
But I actually like the story of the first one the best because it really gives a good backstory into why he's trying to formulate that sort of vaccine and cure for Alzheimer's. And I mean, gosh, who's the actor who plays it? It's
He's the Trinity Killer in
Third
Dexter.
Rock,
I love
Third
him.
Rock from the Sun. Gosh,
Oh my God, no, John Lithgow.
yeah, John
Yep.
Lithgow. He's so amazing in that role. It's just like, gosh, like I think that story might be the best one. But yeah, those if that's what Matt Reeves has in store for his sort of quote unquote trilogy per se, then I'm in.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well,
sure.
he announced that all he did at CinemaCon today was announce that Robert Pattinson's coming back, that he is writing it, and that he will be back to direct it. So that's all they kind of said. No other casting news. I think it's just kind of to get people pumped, like, oh, it's officially happening. Warner Brothers also dropped other news about some of their movies. This Barbie movie from Greta Gerwig, which I wasn't paying attention to at all until I looked at the cast list. Like Greta Gerwig did like Lady Bird and then like, Little Women. Yeah. It has Margot Robbie playing Barbie, Ryan Gosling's playing Ken, and Will Ferrell, America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, Michael Cera, Alexandra Shipp, who played Storm in the last few X-Men movies, Issa Rae, and Simu Liu, who was in Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. And I can't tell if the casting announcements are stopping, because like every time I think they've casted everyone, they keep announcing like someone new being in it. And I kind of don't think that this movie is going to be exactly what we think it is either. They kind of hint that it's not just like it might be a little bit smarter and a little bit more like into like the materialism of the idea of Barbie and that kind of stuff too. I don't think it's going to be like a straightforward like adaptation of like the brand, basically.
Well,
but
my thought for this is that they're going to kind of take, it's obviously going to be a movie version, but my thought is that they're going to kind of go in the direction that Riverdale did when they adapted Archie. So it's like they took all those characters and then kind of made like a sort of drama spin on it. I think that obviously in order to get people into the theater, they're going to have to do something that's a little bit more thrilling than just a love story between Barbie and Ken. I mean, Toy Story did that. So it's like you got to find some way to entertain us. And with the cast, I mean, I have very high expectations. Really interested to see what Michael Cera's playing. I really want to see what he does. I feel like his adult career has been a little bit different than, let's just say, a Jonah Hill or even a Christopher Mintz-Plasse. So really excited to see kind of what they turned that movie into, which, I mean, have there been any sort of releases of what the screenplay is going to look like or what?
Well, the good thing is that Greta Gerwig is co-writing it with her husband Noah Baumbach, who like wrote Marriage Story and Squid and the Whale. Like they're both really talented writers. So that's why I feel like it's not going to be like, because when I first heard about this, I was like, this sounds kind of stupid. But there wasn't really like a lot of like plot descriptions or anything. It's just like, oh, we're just doing a Barbie movie and Margot Robbie's playing her. For a while when this was in early development, God, why am I blanking on her name? Amy Schumer was attached to it. She was supposed to be Barbie, and then I think there might have been I think there might have been some creative differences.
Hire their casting director after that.
I know, but that's the thing I'm kind of worried about with this movie. I mean, one, like Barbie has gone through the ringer of like being like either woke or like staying like in the correct like space, like they like, you know, that whole tirade of like, you know, finally having like, which was needed, like different colored Barbies, you know, for, you know, to represent the whole thing. I haven't seen the cast, but I haven't seen pictures of the cast, but it sounds like a big old whiteboard right now with a few. So I really kind of want to.
It's kind of true.
Like it's one of those movies where I say they better have read the room before they like they set it out, because if it like flops and it's just like this whole, you know, unrealistic. I mean, it's Barbie, so it is unrealistic, but like I can't like. It's just I can't really wrap my head around what kind of story it would be that would do well in this very timid culture of like, you know, you know, I'm you know what I'm saying, what I'm trying to get at, just like it's not over whitewashed or something that it can relate to all. It should be able to relate to all now, because that Barbie brand definitely leans on diversity of like all of their characters and all that stuff. So that would be my only like trepidation towards this, is just that like it could be just a whole whitey movie, and I don't really think that would be good for Warner Brothers to be like,
yeah, definitely not. And I also hope that they, first of all, I mean, just the premise in general is a little bit far fetched. So, are they going to take themselves too seriously? Are they going to have fun with it? Like, I'm trying to figure out sort of how they're going to be acting, because, like, they're literally playing plastic thin people. So it's like,
Right.
I'm wondering what the thought is going to be.
And like it looks like there is some diversity in the cast, but we don't like know like how big those parts are going to be. Like Issa Rae is in it, but we don't know how big her part's going to be. Like Alexandra Shipp's in it, but we don't know how big her part's going to be either. Or America Ferrera, like all we really know about is like Barbie and Ken, and then the rest of this like giant cast. Like they don't even have like characters assigned to them that we know of yet. They were just kind of in it. So yeah, we don't really know how much.
Be funny because Will Ferrell, like, where the fuck is he fitting in? But I'm down for it. Like, I can definitely see some very funny things. But that's where I'm saying, like, have you when Will Ferrell does his like little rants, he just goes off the chain. Like, he isn't like, there's no script to it. So like,
you can't hold him back.
No, yeah. So I really just don't understand, like, what the hell could, like, what is he, Barbie's manager? And like, he's just gonna make all these like very odd, like funny comments, or is he gonna be like Ken's dad? You know, like I have no idea. And
if he's either of their parents, you got to see the other one, because no way Ryan Gosling or Margot Robbie came from Will Ferrell.
So no. I truly believe sometimes a good 4 out of 10 times, if not good looking people have a baby, that actually comes out as a good looking baby, because like the genes are in there for someone to. Everyone has got the genes. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like, how did that girl come from these two? I don't know, but I you never know. Will Ferrell could absolutely produce a Barbie. I guarantee it.
Let me read the plot description. It's on IMDb, so this could like totally change, and it might not be like an official one. But what they wrote was, a doll living in Barbie Land is expelled for not being perfect enough and sets off on an adventure in the real world. A live action
Margot Robbie gets expelled for not being perfect enough. Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
And by the way, that's not official. That might not be official, but that is what it says on IMDb as the plot description. But they did announce,
is a joke.
Yeah, and they did announce today that it is coming out on July 21st, 2023. So we'll know when.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say this July. I was like, wait, so they already filmed it?
Yeah. So we'll know relatively soon whether or not it's good or not. But I like I said, I have faith in the director and the writers. So hopefully it's not kind of what we're thinking, and it's a bit smarter than that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Since we're taking this studio by studio, Jack, is there any other Warner Brothers things that you want to praise or shit on?
Yeah, I think there was a recent article. Actually, I was just reading it today. Let me see if I have it still.
Because they've been mixing in good news with like bad news.
The new executives of Warner Brothers, which is basically Discovery, have like gone through the books of Warner Brothers right now, and essentially what they came up with was that they literally just have been like just doing hodgepodge things, just throwing money at stuff to see if it works out.
It's just a mess right now, then.
Yeah, it's just an absolute mess. Like, well, they said like one. I can't find the article right now. It's really pissing me off. But it is just one of the. Where the fuck is
Actually, I might have something for you, because I was reading something because they were talking about
Oh, here you go. I got it.
Yeah, they were getting rid of TNT. They're getting rid of scripted programming on TNT and TBS because of that merger too.
The quote from Discovery CFO Gunnar Weidenfels, Gunnar spelled Gunnar, awesome name. Quote unquote, right or wrong, management has made a decision to invest a lot of the incoming funds into a number of investment initiatives. As I'm looking under the hood here, CNN Plus is just one example. And I don't want to go through the list of specific examples, but there's a lot of chunky investments that are lacking what I would view as a solid analytical financial foundation and meeting the ROI hurdles that I would like to see for a major investment.
That's business speak for we're cutting a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's like if you went to a new job and the person right before you is like, here's the accounts, like you deal with it, and this person just saved nothing on the open server, all on his personal computer, just hodgepodge budgets. Yeah, so I I will not shit on the new Warner Brothers Discovery. The old Warner Brothers Discovery, god damn you for putting me through so much turmoil and bad decisions on
yeah.
your part.
Well, remember I was talking to you guys one of the last times, and I was like, "Yo, why are we getting like a Blue Beetle theatrical release and Bad Girls going to HBO Max?" But then I woke up that Monday to them being like, "No, now they're thinking of like releasing Bad Girl in theaters," and they said there was a couple of reasons. There was one that like they looked at all the subscribers that Netflix lost in their last quarter, kind of looking at it as like, okay, maybe streaming isn't as strong as we think it is because we're coming out of the pandemic and people are going back to the movies. So like maybe we shouldn't just like put these kind of big releases just on our streaming service. And also this week because of the trade show that's going on with CinemaCon, everyone's being all bold and saying like, yeah, the day and date releases are like dead. That model doesn't work anymore. We're not going to release movies on the same day in streaming and in theaters anymore. We need to focus on the theatrical window, respecting the 45-day theatrical window, and then focusing on streaming and then Blu-ray and all that other stuff. I mean, this is a far cry from what they were saying a year ago when they thought theaters were dying because of the pandemic and everything. I think it sounds like a little too confident, but I mean, that's kind of where their head's at right now. They think theaters are warring back and like they don't have to like put all their eggs in the streaming basket anymore.
I think definitely the day-to-day release with streaming in theaters, that's definitely dead. I mean, even just with The Matrix and everything, that was such a huge movie that could have done, like, let's just say that came out now, I feel like it would have done much better than if it was released on HBO Max. So I think that they're right in that aspect, but I don't think that the losing subscribers from Netflix is a trend line of a
Yeah,
sign
like that's not a
of
gauge.
yeah, it's not a it's so new, and streaming has become the way to watch things. I mean, we can even see it when they created fucking CNN Plus because people want to stream. So it's like I don't think that like that model is going to be decreasing. I think it's because of Netflix's choices based on content and also what shows they've decided to keep, but also maybe not even be willing to pay for. For example, Friends in the Office. I hate to use those because they're basically just the big ones, but Peacock got them, and people don't want to go to Peacock just for that, but they also don't want to stay on Netflix if it doesn't have it. So I think that it's mostly a content choice. Also, with the prices raising and the announcement that they're going to be having commercials, and that is a huge thing.
Oh,
for people.
whoa! Pause! Big old pause button. Commercials on Netflix.
Yeah, they're going to be having advertisements. They're adding ads, and they're also kicking people off for sharing accounts, which is passwords and stuff. So it's like people have realized, oh, I can't just do this. Not only do I not have a free account anymore, they're going to kick me out, and I have to pay $6 more than what my friend was paying. So it's just like a whole culmination of things that Netflix is deciding to do because of this that has actually ended up like making their fan base and their subscriber base decrease.
Well, see, like, remember when they said like it was like 2-3 years ago, pre-pandemic, that they're spending $3 billion on original content, and the question really always was, where the hell are you getting $3 billion from just off of a non-ad-based subscription model, and then add on top your original programming, and then add on top all the marketing you do for that? I just never understood how they got that money or how they were even profitable. So unfortunately, I definitely saw the ads coming. And also add in TV rights deals, like, getting the rights to the certain shows. But I just never understood how they can make money just by doing that. So I'm not shocked by the ads thing, and that's really what my focus of this rant is going to be on. Other than that, dude, it's just the share of the market. It's the share of the market argument. If the more that's out there, the more that people are going to want to go check out other things. I've been on a Prime kick for the past like month and a half. I haven't been on Netflix, so that's just how it goes sometimes. So I don't think that day-to-day release thing was a good idea. I mean, I watched Wonder Woman like 3 times on Christmas, but that was like it. Other than that, yeah, just it's not going to work out that way anymore. And they should definitely respect the directors, like make that a priority. Respect the director and the actors who like put all this hard work in for us to enjoy in the medium that they want.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, to be the boring business guy, the reason that they can get money, to be the it's just like the reason they can get all this money is because when Netflix is valued as a company at like whatever it is, $60 billion, then investors are going to throw a lot of money at them, regardless of whether or not their ROI is succeeding. So they have this plan to make their money back. But for shows something like Bridgerton, I mean, they probably spent a fuck ton of money on that, and it's given them great results, which means, and it shows investors, hey, I'm going to still throw another $1 billion at you. Here's money to go make more content to make me more money in the long run, so that their stock value of Netflix will raise, so that their investment into the company will make them more money. So the money's not just coming from nowhere. They're not just getting $1 billion from.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see it.
So it's like that's how they're getting the money. Although, like now with this, they're probably not going to be spending $3 billion because people are like, well, you lost your subscriber base. 2, your content's not that great. 3, the Power of the Dog was supposed to win an Oscar and it barely won anything. So it's like I think they probably will not be spending a lot of that money coming in these coming years just based on that. So I think their investors are probably going to get maybe a little bit of cold feet, which, as we could see, could be a detriment to the amount of original content that they're going to be allowed to create within the coming years.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, their stock dropped on last week. It dropped
like 20-something
percent of its original of its current stock price, which equal to like $53 billion worth of value. So definitely understand what you're saying. Thank you for that business lesson, and everyone on who's listening, please thank Owen in the comments for that. But still, like when Red Notice came out, I was like, this was the most successful movie of all time. It's made this much money, and it's like, I don't see how that movie could raise Netflix stock even more than it already has. So, but yeah, to continue on.
Yeah, but actually, Jack, that's a really good point. Sorry, guys, to cut you off for the fourth time again. But it's just like that's the thing that I actually don't understand too about this is that they're saying stuff like Red Notice, but Gaius, you and I have talked about this in the past too. All those numbers are not even released to the public. So it's like they're saying viewership, but how does that antiquate to real, like, tangible dollars? Because when you go to the movie theater, you can know that someone spent, like, that Sonic the Hedgehog made $148 million so far. That's money that's being transacted. So I don't understand how Netflix can just kind of come up with these numbers and just be like, okay, well, whatever it is, 100 million households watch this movie, and now it's worth something. Like that's something that still doesn't. It's basically just this IP, I guess, that's out there that they're saying is valuable because of the viewership that it's gotten, but it actually hasn't like legitimately made them any money. So that's what I don't understand.
Yes, maybe that's where I was like saying like you're saying the return on investment from these investors is essentially if it's a good movie, Netflix stock rises because they're more popular.
Mm-hmm.
We get that, but then like we're saying right now, it's like how the fuck did Red Notice make this or that? Like at least with like program TV, like Gaius could probably give us a better understanding of that with like the Nielsen and all that. But like that was you could track that. Like if someone turned the channel halfway through, they would know that they stopped watching at a certain time, and you could do that with Netflix, but that's private.
Yeah,
and just for everyone who's listening, like. Oh, they count views like on Facebook at like 3 seconds. So like that's what they look at a view. It's like 3 seconds. YouTube's like 7 seconds. So Netflix also has that, and I think it's within like the first 5 minutes. So like if you watch 5 minutes through, they're counting it as a view as you've committed to it. So again, like I could stop watching it after 5 minutes, and they count that as a view of the whole thing. So it's odd, but it's also private. So
damn. So they counted a view of Power of the Dog. Fuck.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, you did. You 100% did.
They're trying to be more transparent. Like they release the viewership now for their like top 10 in the US and their top 10 globally as far as views are concerned, but it's still not like I think that's the biggest problem that like a lot of people have is that you don't have something that you can see that like you said that shows that you're generating money. So like if something grosses like $50 million in opening weekend, you can be like, oh, I can see that's a hit. Like with like the Netflix stuff, it's like I love the Adam Project and they can boast about how it was their third most watched film ever, but it doesn't really say a lot because a lot of their content also doesn't have like the longevity either. I think that's a lot of their problem too, is that
Yeah.
they have a quality control problem. For every like Stranger Things and like Ozark, a lot of their original films are not good. They might hit for like a weekend and then people forget about them. Like for however successful Bird Box was, and it was for them, people make fun of it more than anything because it's not like a great film. It's not remembered as something that was really great for cinema. So they can boast about like how many people have watched it and all that stuff, but it doesn't have the same gauge of success that a theatrical experience would. And then like also on top of this, like they used to be the only people in the game, and now there's a ton of competition. That's why they're losing subscribers too.
Share of market.
So like
I know that.
So they're gonna lose some of their base if they don't actually put out like you. I guess people are now noticing that I'm not just gonna accept just whatever generic action movie you're gonna throw my way for the week. Like when you say that you're gonna release an original film every week for the entire year, that means I don't think you're putting in all the effort into some of that stuff to make that happen.
That's just quantity over quality.
Yeah, you're just like you're cranking stuff.
That's what they want. I think that's what they wanted at first, to get the share of the markets. Like, we have all this content, you have to stay on our platform to watch it. Like, can't miss this. And now they should retract back to quality over quantity.
Well, Gaius, I also really like your point too about the original releases. I mean, my favorite example too is The King with Timothée Chalamet and who we just talked about, Robert Pattinson. And like I said, I love that movie. I thought it was a great original. But the thing is about those kind of things is that, one, since it's a Netflix original, it's always fucking on Netflix, which means you forget about it the second you watch it. Whereas you could have something that has a theatrical release and then it's like now on Netflix. And so now you're excited to actually go to the platform to see it. Whereas all of these things that are original now, they're constantly on the platform. So you watch it once and fucking forget about it. And then also don't even tell your friends about it because you just watched it and now it's always there. So I think that like the diversification that Netflix has had has been pretty spare. And they really need to just kind of step up their game and stop making movies. I watched, what was it? Click or Die or Choose or Die, and it was fucking terrible. Like
I can't even finish it.
I couldn't even finish it. It's just one of these things that I don't know why they're spending. Like that movie probably cost them whatever, $1.5 million, $2 million, or maybe even more than that. And it's like, why are you spending money on these movies that are going to be in your Netflix top 10 the second they come out, and the next day they're not?
And they're gone.
I don't get that.
They have a lot of in the moment hits. So that's what they kind of like. Oh, like you're watching it in the moment. You're like, all right, I guess it was fine for what it was while I was watching it. Like I had no problem with Extraction, but it's not a movie I think about like later after I watched it. It was fine in the moment. Or like The Old Guard with like Charlize Theron. I was like, it was fine in the moment, but like it's not something I really remember afterwards.
Took the words right out of my head, Gaius, right there with Old Guard. Like I literally was about to say, like, I see Old Guard on my like recommendeds or like watch again all the time because I basically watch those types of movies on Netflix. So actually The King is always on my watch it again or like recommended. So it's a great movie. But yeah, it's just like, am I going to sit down again for another 2 hours and watch Charlize Theron and whatnot? Or like, am I going to watch Underground 6 with Ryan Reynolds?
No.
Like, no. And you spent a fuck ton of money on those movies, and I'd rather watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Like
I think too. I was just going to say, I think that, okay.
Someone go.
I think that Netflix has kind of embraced this sort of millennial and Gen Z sort of tradition where it's like they want to go viral quick, and then they want to move on to something else. And so it's like that's kind of the way that I've pictured this whole thing is that, I mean, something like Bird Box is the hit of the internet. Everyone's talking about it. And then immediately they're moving on to something else. And that's how it is with Twitter. That's how it is with news. That's how it is with Reddit. There's always some new topic that everyone's talking about. And the second something else comes out, they move on to the next thing. And I feel like Netflix has either intentionally or unintentionally embraced that sort of fact and has just decided to pump out as much content as possible just in the hopes that one thing is going to finally stick. And when it does, what's the point? Because they've wasted so much money making all these other trash films. I don't know. It's it's frustrating to me.
I read today that they pumped $200 million into this movie called The Gray Man that the Russo brothers are directing with Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas. I mean, it's a good cast. It's cool. And like the Russo brothers, they did like the Avengers and stuff like that, that's fine. But it's crazy to me that Netflix would spend $200 million on something that you won't really know how successful that is. And I mean, it's the same thing the problem I had with Red Notice. It was expensive too, and they can boast about how many people watched it, but like I couldn't like, other than us and a few other people, I was like, no one else talked about watching it. No one was like, oh yeah, I watched Red Notice and it was great or it was bad. Like, it just kind of like, I mean, with
It's
The
a
Rock
sentence conversation.
yeah,
No, it
Dwayne
was
Johnson.
just like, did you watch The Rock? Did you watch that new Rock movie? Did you watch that new Ryan Reynolds movie? Like, that's it.
And Gal Gadot,
So.
she was there, and then that was it.
My parents said that they watched it. They're like, yeah, we saw Red Notice, and it was okay. And that was it. Like, they didn't even mention anything about it.
And like, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I like.
So Netflix,
I guess
hearing this,
be better
quality, baby. Yeah,
all about
to your point. I think that, I mean, you brought up two successful shows like Ozark and Stranger Things. I mean, their success has been the ones that you have to keep coming back for, where there's new content constantly being put out for it. So, I mean, they became successful because of their shows and their original shows, not from their original films. And it's for these films that you really want to keep coming back for, it's got to be something that you've seen and you want to continue to see, or you're excited for it to hit Netflix so that you can see it again. I mean, I honestly was excited for Batman to hit HBO Max so I could watch it again and see something that I missed. If I had seen it originally like I did Dune on HBO Max, I'm probably not going to go watch it again unless, I mean, my parents bought tickets for me to go see it on Thanksgiving, so I had to go see it again. But it's like when you finally see something for the first time on a streaming service on your couch, like, you're not dying to do it again anytime soon. So it's like, I mean,
besides Dune, I love Dune.
Yeah, well, Dune was a good one, but it's like, I'm not going to go turn it on after this.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, it also played better on the big screen too. Like, it played much better on the big screen than it did at home.
I just think that their success has been from keeping people to come back to their platform, and so far their original movies have not done that.
No, I agree, and they're still trying, and like, but they're not like, they need quality stuff now instead of just like, and and they have all the big stars. They've signed up all these people to be in these movies. Chris Hemsworth is in there with Netflix. Sandra Bullock is. Charlize Theron, Mark Wahlberg. These are all big names that are like associated with them. Ryan Reynolds, but like, they just need to put out better content, and that will help a lot. That will go a long way, and it kind of allowing them to compete with all these services. They're like still not like as successful as them, but are creeping up on them as far as like the quality of stuff they're putting out there.
Yeah.
And
I will say that Netflix originals, like their original films, I have a better like chance of seeing one of those because I think their movies have been great. And I will attribute it to The King, is that I think their original movies are good. So if there's something that comes out just on Netflix, I'm more inclined to see it on Netflix, whereas something like Vacation Friends on Hulu came out, and I was like, I don't know if Hulu's can put out a good movie, and so I actually still haven't seen that yet. So it's like, I do give Netflix the benefit of the doubt that in my mind, I feel like their movies are better and they can actually do something that is going to keep me entertained, whereas I don't think that the other ones are strictly there yet.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's move on to another studio. I'm going to do Sony last. I know because that's like the big one with everything that's going on with them at CinemaCon. I'm going to go to Universal because there was like some Fast 10 news that dropped today, like right before we started. The director Justin Lin dropped out, and they are 6 days into production. He's not directing anymore. They said it was like mutual departure, but it was over creative differences, and you kind of can get a hint of things not being like the way they should be because someone wrote on when he made the announcement and showed the logo for the for the new Fast movie. One of his fans wrote on there, basically said like, I hope you make this final installment like kind of like classic like the first one, basically like go back to basics and like kind of make it what it was because it's kind of gotten out of hand. And Vin Diesel, I don't know if he was just like jet lagged or feeling himself, but he got all emotional and started posting he posted like 3 things. One of them he took down, but he said that he always listens to the fans. Like he said he listened to the fans when they wanted him to like be in a movie with The Rock. So that's how like Dwayne Johnson ended up in Fast Five. Same thing with Jason Statham. He also added the little caveat that like he still thinks that Hobbs is Dwayne Johnson's like best character he's ever played. He took that post down. I guess someone told him to take it down. He also said that originally, he also said originally in this new one that Jordana Brewster in the 10th one, her character Mia was not in the script, and he got upset because he was like, she's my sister in the movie. The movie's about family. Why is she not in it? The argument there is it was hard to explain why she was in Fast 9 and not have Brian there, because Brian is very much alive in the universe, in the movies, even though Paul Walker isn't. So it's hard to justify her leaving her husband and her kid to go off on these adventures and stuff with the rest of her family. But he felt that she should be in it. So he had I know he fought hard about that. I can't think of any other reason why Justin Lin would like drop out other than Vin Diesel. I feel like Vin Diesel's just trying to do a lot to make people happy.
I can think of.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to do a lot to make everyone happy, whether it's the studio, the fans, like other people in the movie, people that weren't in the movie originally that want to be in the movie. Because someone posted a video like from a few days ago where Vin Diesel is like a selfie video. And he's like talking to Justin Lin. And he's like, "Oh, is this like the best one we've done yet?" And Justin Lin is just like, "Yeah," he's just not excited. So it made like a lot of sense, like to hear today that like he's dropping out. I mean, it does kind of suck that it's in 6 days into production. They're still going to do like second unit shooting on it, but then they have to kind of hit a break and look for a new director. And they said that they have prospects. Everyone on Twitter thinks Vin Diesel's going to do it. I hope he doesn't, because I don't think he can.
I wouldn't hate that.
I guess it would just be a big old vanity project for him.
Yeah, like being real, it's like, I mean, I'm shocked he hasn't directed like something, and obviously he's like executive producer now, but like I'm kind of shocked he hasn't. Obviously not to the fucking scale of what Justin Lin can do with like, a car flying from island to island on a rickety bridge that somehow gets the bumper and then they fling to another place. Yeah. I don't know, wild stuff, spaceship stuff. But yeah, no, I think it'd be dope if he did that. But yeah, again, this is kind of getting fatigued. Like 10 movies in, where they're doing crazy shit, adding new people and that, which is great. And like, I'll still watch it. I'll watch it every fucking time. You can make 20 of these, but let's get a little like. It doesn't have to always up the next one. It could just be a better movie than the last one, if that makes sense.
Do you think they should go back to basics? If they go back to basics, is that too small considering what they've done the last like 4 some odd movies?
Well, they can make the story small, the scope large, but like it could be as simple as like, I mean, again, like this is also the same franchise that has like killed off characters and then like magically brought them back through other things. Like first, Han was dead, just straight up dead. 2 movies later, he's alive. Another movie later, we find out that it was Jason Statham who killed Han, and then Han was working for Mr. Nobody. So you can just bring back anyone, in the crazy context of this world. But if you just kind of like scale it down to make it more character driven rather than like a huge, just save the world situation, I think it could do better.
They should all just go putt-putt golfing and then get angry over that.
Or it's like, I don't know, it's like
Fast 9, go-kart racing.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it would be cool, like for like if I wish they did it like made O'Connor, Jack O'Connor, the Brian's son, like older, so he's like, if you put like the situation that's in Gone in 60 Seconds, where it's like the older brother was the famous car thief and the younger one's kind of like fuck up, kind of live up to it. I think that could be a really cool storyline where it's like, my parent, I didn't know my dad, but I want to live up to him, but like he's getting into the wrong crowd, and it turns out to be like an old enemy. Yeah. So I don't know, something along that lines I think would be fine, but like I don't need to see another spaceship or Tyrese going underwater in a Lamborghini in the Arctic being chased by a submarine.
What I did see in Vin Diesel's post that I thought was interesting, and like I guess more power to them if they want to do this. Vin Diesel mentioned Paul Walker's mother, saying that she wants to see Brian on the big screen again, and they have talked about like kind of using whatever technology to kind of make him not a full cast member, I would imagine. I guess what they would do, what they did with him in like Furious 7 when they had to like finish the movie and had his brother stand in. Um, I didn't mind it for that one because it made sense because they had to finish it, and it was like a nice homage to like have his brothers kind of finish that out for him. I don't know if I would want to see that uh, again because it just
No,
feels like a kind of
I
like
think that's disrespectful.
cheap ploy.
It
Yeah,
could, yeah. I forgot who they did this with someone else, right? They like they digitally generated somebody's voice based on like tracks from other things to do it. Like the technology is there to do it. I just think Paul Walker is so unanimously loved that they wouldn't want people to do this. Like it sets a
Dude,
bad precedent for every other thing. Like, all right, let's bring back Heath Ledger.
yeah,
yeah,
I totally
Like
agree.
that doesn't
It's
it's such a
like,
bad precedent. Like put Paul Walker's mom in the movie and say she's like Jack's grandma. Like that's great, great little thing, and everyone knows about it. But yeah, to do like a that type of thing, I think would be really weird. But like
I think you
it's
got to be
been
really
done.
careful with the digitally enhanced youngifying stuff. I mean, for I still think we're probably years away from it being perfected because it's so obvious on screen to me. And I mean, it's one of the things that bothered me about The Irishman. I mean, seeing stuff like a young Robert De
That's
Niro
funny.
when
That's funny because I was gonna say I
he's
like the
fucking
Irishman.
80 years old. And like I don't know, there's something about it that fucking bothers me, and I think it just shows complete disrespect to Paul Walker. I mean, he didn't fucking sign off to say you're allowed to use my likeness and image after I'm dead. So it's like I don't think that
Well, to go
it's
into the legal terms, that's the estate's decision now, not his. But yeah, no, I
right.
totally get what you're saying. It's. But again, if it's coming from his mom, I think
Yeah,
that
again,
holds
I
a little
mean,
bit of weight.
like, cause I guess with like Furious 7, like when they were worried about like not finishing it after he died, they did go. It was his family that said that they should finish it, and
his
that's why the
family,
brothers were so.
always
That's
family.
why, and that's why the brothers were so heavily involved. But that also felt different because it was like you have to wrap it up. He didn't get to
Yeah,
finish it, and we're helping. We're helping our brother, our our son, or whatever, finish like this last thing that he was working on, and they did so in a very respectful way, especially for a movie like that. They kind of like peeled back a little bit and it was like, okay, it's not a dumb action movie for like a few minutes, and actually paid respect to the guy who was a big part of the franchise. So I thought that was cool. I
yeah,
just think it does become. I think it becomes like a cheap ploy to do it again. They have talked about putting his daughter in some scenes, which is fine because she's like in her early 20s, and if she wants to like kind of be a part of it, that's another way they can kind of honor him too. Uh, you know, I just think trying to like use technology to kind of bring that character back in any capacity when
That would
it's
yo,
kind of
that
uncomfortable.
would be that would be a really cool scene. um, like his daughter's like Brian's like niece, and he like when like they were close when they were younger, so he taught him all about cars. She pulls up to Dom's like Los Angeles house and is like in the old school orange car that Dom took in the first movie. That'd be a sick like scene. But I mean,
Yeah,
again, it's got to come back to the roots.
yeah.
yeah,
If they're gonna do it, it's got to be for 30 seconds or something. Like it shouldn't be for longer than half a scene. I mean, you should barely even have him talking. I think. So I
yeah.
don't agree with it if they do it.
I guess so.
The,
And
the
then,
only way,
oh, go ahead.
okay, the last scene I could think of that would work is if it's the end, they finish with whatever the hell it is. It's the barbecue, and you know how they always say like, "Oh, it's your turn to say grace."
Yeah.
They flip it around, and
Oh,
it's Brian at the other side, at the end. Brian at the other end of the table, and it's his brother doing the deep fake, and he like
I like.
puts the hands out and says grace. I think that would be the only respectful way about doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you can do it. I mean, not you can't make him like a supporting character. You can't try to put him in longer than it needs to be. It needs to be short
Maybe
and
I should
sweet.
direct Fast 10.
Probably be better than Diesel.
Yeah, I can't even think who would want to do it. I mean, like, it's not like I mean, it'd be a cool franchise to direct, but like, that's a daunting task to jump in and like work on something that they're splitting up into two movies. Like, it's not going to be one film. They're like doing two parts. So like,
This is
that's a
just
lot.
getting more and more ridiculous.
So ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
finish the franchise and move on, Vin.
yeah, I know. Oh, but the one bit of the good news is that Charlize Theron took a picture of her and Jason Momoa on set, and she got rid
Yeah.
of that awful fucking box haircut that she had in the last one, and she looks normal. So I'm happy about that too. That Cypher will actually look like a legit hot Charlize Theron, and not someone with a weird funky haircut. Probably the best
And
decision they
Jason
made in a long
Momoa.
time. And he'll be a cool
Keep
villain.
on
They're
no
both
matter
going to be
what.
villains in it. Yeah, I think he's a good addition to it too. He'll be fun.
Which is funny because he was supposed to be like in talks to be one of the brothers on the on the Samoa Island. He just couldn't do it because of conflict.
Oh, and you talking about Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah, because I think they someone tweeted out, it's like, you got to get Jason Momoa in. He's like, yeah, no, I got to get my brothers in, and, yada yada. We tried doing it for the scene, but we couldn't get him due to probably because he was filming Justice League or Aquaman. But yeah, so I think it's actually even dope that he's gonna like play this like. I hope he just plays like a crazy badass, smart rock star villain, like just a smarter version of himself.
Yeah, actually.
Whoa, is that a dig at him? Is he dumb?
No, like in the sense that he's like super
smarter version. No, Jack, that is on tape. You just said that he needs to play a smarter version of himself. Wow.
I'm gonna ask him to use this soundbite to promote the episode.
Jason Momoa, I love you. Keep doing you, man. Keep doing you.
Put it right next to him, like backing Amber Heard, and then Jack this.
Oh God. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can get to Sony now. Sony has like the most stuff going on at CinemaCon. It's a mix of good news and news that I just don't care about. I want to say this first. They started the week off by making sure that we knew that Spider-Man No Way Home made $610 million in profit for them. So they had like a ton of money to do some good things with it, but judging from some of the stuff they're announcing, I don't think they are going to do great things with it. I guess like the big one is that they moved Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse from this year until June of 2023. No real big reason was given. That's why they're doing that. Maybe they need more time to finish some stuff, or maybe it'll just play well or play better during the summer. Because it was supposed to come out in like I think October of this year. And the one after that, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, will be out March 2024. And then they announced, so I don't even know who Bad Bunny is.
I didn't know who Bunny is.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so I know what you're gonna get at. I know what you're gonna get at with this one, but I think I know what Sony's up to with this.
Yeah, you can take it, because I was like, I don't know who he is, and then they were like, oh, this is who he's playing in a Spider-Man spinoff. And I was like, what? I don't even why.
So Bad Bunny is like the biggest reggaeton artist outside of north of the United States. So he's massive. And I have no idea who this character is. All I know is that I think that Sony has been like, you know what? We're not doing so hot inside the U.S. with these off-spin movies. Maybe if we like throw Hispanic and a huge Hispanic guy in there, we'll get we'll get a little traction outside of it. Because remember, like we talk about it. We talk about movies like we're from the U.S. and that's how we gauge stuff. But like, you have to remember, studios don't always make movies for just the U.S. They make them for China. They make them for Brazil. They make them for all these huge countries that make huge amounts of money. So I think that it's just a ploy to get to a different market and still be profitable and still say that they're making Spider-Man IPs. But I just, as an American, I don't care.
He's not a fucking actor. That's what pisses me off. Is like, it just bothers me that, like, I mean, unless this
drives my point. It's money grab.
Yeah. Unless this character's alter ego is a reggaeton like singer, like I don't understand why they chose him. There are plenty of Latino and Hispanic people that could have played this that are actual fucking actors and have been in the business for a long time. Like, there's no need to cast someone who has no business being in the acting world. Like, I don't know.
This was I was like conflicted about it, because on the one hand, I did like reading that like he's the first ever like Latino actor to headline a Marvel movie, so that's cool. But then like on the other, it's like I agree with you. Like, I think he has a part in Bullet Train that's coming out this summer too. Like, but he's not like a like actor. And it's clear that they're casting him because like, he's big outside of the U.S. and they can kind of capitalize on that. But yeah, I didn't know anything about this character. I guess he's known as Juan Carlos Estrada Sanchez in the comics, and he's a wrestler whose powers are handed down by ancestry in the form of a mask that gives him superhuman strength. And that they're going to portray him more as an anti-hero in this film, that's inheriting his father's powers. That's what they said on stage.
So we're gonna have a masked Hispanic man in a lucha libre mask running around. Again, this is another one of those read the rooms, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's coming out January 12th, 2024. It just adds to that list of like these standalones that they're doing. Like I still kind of am interested in Craving the Hunter because I think that could be good, but like Madam Web, I don't care about. But like Madam Web, I don't care about. I don't really care about this, even though I do think it's, I guess, cool for him that he gets to kind of have this moment to be in something like this, and it's probably not right to shit on it, but like it also, it's like, why does no one is asking for these? Like Sony's acting like people are like, this is what the people want, and like no one is saying like you should make that character and give him his own movie. Like
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, dude, like these Spider-Man spinoffs are starting to frustrate me because, like, I think that Gacy said it perfectly. Sony just has the IP for all these freaking characters, and they're like, let's make movies about them. But no one is asking for them. The best character in the Spider-Man universe is fucking Spider-Man. So there's no reason to build all of these, like, extra, like, Spider-Verse things. I think that, like, this Spider-Verse animated one is going to be interesting, but apparently there's 27, 28 characters or something in that. I think that's even overdoing.
Oh no, you like, misread that, bud. There's 250.
250 fucking characters, man. Like that's too many. That's too many for my brain to comprehend. Like I even thought like, gosh, I don't think that they need to be going down this road. And if they do, they need to take their time with it because they're really just starting to basically announce characters and say, hey, we're making a movie about this. They did it with Morbius and the story was garbage. So it's like, why don't we take our time, find a good script, find the right story to tell, and then we can actually develop these characters rather than just being like, hey, here's $300 million, go make a fucking movie. And
but that's the argument we were having with Netflix is that they have all this money, they have some success in some shape or form, so they have the profit to do so they're going to say, fuck it, let's just continue to make more of these things and see what something sticks. Is it the right move in terms of like quality? Absolutely not. But is it the terms of how consumption is in this current day and age? It is, because most of the time I'm going to watch a comic book movie, regardless if it's that terrible. I'm going to watch it because I'm a nerd and I want to see if they do any justice to it or if I can shit on it on the podcast with you guys. But
everyone's been shitting on these. Everyone's been shitting on them, except for Spider-Man No Way Home.
But I know, and it's weird too. But again, that's also the Disney effect, is that they can't, like, Disney's not going to let them just do whatever they want, you know? Like, I think the most they're allowed to do is with Venom because that, but like still, like it's bullshit that we can't see like Spider-Man's like number one and like villain that like we all remember because he's on Sony and he can't be in the Marvel universe for some odd reason, for, you know, PG-13 or NC-7, whatever reason. So it sucks. They shouldn't. I mean, if they're gonna continue to make the movies, just be better at them. Like that's really it.
The only smart thing they're doing is
Warner Brothers fans scream at the top of their lungs for all these movies and get none of them. Sony has no fan outcry and they just give them everything. It's wild.
Someone in their office is like, yeah, Madam Web, let's do that. Like no one is at home going like, I can't wait till they make a Madam Web movie. Dude. Like it's just like no one is asking for it. I mean, I guess the only smart thing that they kind of do is that they micro budget these kind of spinoffs, because Morbius didn't have a huge budget. So if there's a loss, there's on the big one. And if there's a win, it's a big win. The same thing happened with Venom. Venom didn't have like a huge budget either, and it kind of latched onto the audience that really enjoyed it, even though the reviews weren't great. Like younger people liked Venom, and they even enjoyed the sequel. I didn't get it, but like I think when Sony sees success like that, they're like, okay, people clearly want it because it was successful. So there is an audience for it. But like when you make that much money and the quality isn't good, but you continue to make money, it doesn't give you any incentive to try as much as you probably should. You know, like to piggyback off all that, they also announced they're going to make a third Venom movie. They didn't say anything about it, and who's coming back, but they're gonna make another one. I don't even know what I would want to see in a third Venom movie at this point, uh, unless they're going to involve Spider-Man in some way. But I also don't even want to see them like taint that either. I just don't
Yeah,
trust Sony
they're
to.
grasping at straws.
I don't trust Sony to do anything. Like they are my new Warner Brothers. Like I used to shit on Warner Brothers the most, and now it's mostly Sony. So like it's hard for me
Yeah,
to like accept.
you've been on a real big Sony diss spree
Well,
for a little bit,
well,
guys.
they're stupid, and it's hard to be happy
There's
for
so
their.
much trash out there.
It's like it's so hard to be happy for their $610 million in Spider-Man profit when they're just gonna squander it on crap.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Just
like,
give that to
Like,
Tom Holland,
now
and
that
then
I'm
we'll be
thinking
good.
now that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, I really can't think of like another movie that's like, oh, yep, Sony released that non-comic book or Spider-Man related. Like, it's like I'm having a really hard time thinking about it right now.
like what other successful movies they have?
No, like legit, like whatever. Like, even if something's out, like when we talk about Sony in this terms, it's like we're always talking about Spider-Man or like their spin-offs. I can't think of another movie that we've discussed that had the Sony backing, unless
Yeah,
I'm
we
just an
didn't really.
idiot and just haven't
I'm
realized.
looking
we
it up.
didn't. We didn't really talk about
Yeah, like,
Uncharted.
give me a list of any other Sony movies that come up as sans comic book.
They had
Okay.
Uncharted, but that's based on a video game.
Okay, so
And
yeah,
they have, like-
Rabbit.
what they have?
Peter Rabbit.
Okay,
The
Ghostbusters.
Emoji Movie. Ghostbusters.
Okay, Ghostbusters.
Men in Black International. Surf's Up. Okay, I love Surf's Up. Surf's Up's a great one. Hotel Transylvania. They have that.
Those were successful, I guess.
I think you've just named like at least 4 digital or heavy or cartoon movies. So yeah, I have no idea what Sony's up to. They seem to have found their niche with these spin-offs and animated movies like Peter Rabbit and whatever else Owen just listed. I've already forgotten
A bunch
about
of
them.
random shit.
Yeah, so hey, they're still a huge studio. So
They are.
what do we know?
And they're gonna make another. They're making a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife too. They announced that during their sizzle reel last night. I mean, the movie was total fan service. I guess fans loved it a lot. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. I don't think we need another one, but it definitely did its job of like winning people back after the Lady Time one pissed everyone off. So like it did its job, I guess. But yeah, I mean they only really had like one misstep in a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have much faith in what they're gonna do next. But as far
speaking of cartoon, since you correctly guessed that what was it, Bad Guys or Evil Guys?
Bad Guys.
Bad Guys like top the box office, like outperforming, dude. With the Northman being like so hyped as like the next Gladiator, like like I read it was like it's like the movie we've been waiting for the past 20 years, and it only made $12 million.
Yeah, it's weird. It's funny in like industry circles, like and press and online. When people were seeing that movie early, they hyped it up hard because that director did The Lighthouse and he did The Witch, so he has like a lot of people that love his work. I was surprised that Focus Features gave him $70 to $90 million to make that movie, and because he hasn't made anything that like justifies, at least box office wise, giving him that much money to play with. I think it's cool that they took a chance on it, like a visionary director, and just let him do his thing. But I was so surprised that they gave him that much money because it's not going to make that back here.
No, yeah. I mean, well, you can say the argument like giving it to Zack Snyder, like giving him like the big budget of Batman vs Superman after coming off the success of Dead movie, the zombie movie.
Army of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. So I think that happens all the time where like directors like we see the potential, we're going to give you this one, see what happens. But I'm like I was at Talladega. I was at the Talladega race in Alabama this weekend. Guess who like did the flag? Was Alexander Skarsgård. So like they pushed this movie. I'm shocked that it didn't do better. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it soon, but um, shocking that that didn't do better. It came like 4th on the
Yeah,
weekend. So
and they promoted the hell out of it. I think it just couldn't. It didn't sell to people outside of like whatever fan base it was going to get. Like casual moviegoers weren't going to go see it, and I think that was the main problem because like this was one of
I
the
don't
weekends
think
where
like
no, like this was the one weekend where all 3 new wide releases all got good reviews. Like the Nicolas Cage movie got good reviews. That the Bad Guys got good reviews. This did. This was like the first weekend in a while where that's happened, and only the Bad Guys did well, and it overperformed. But like, yeah, I was, like I said, I think it's cool that they gave him that money to do it. Uh, I wish for the sake of like original ideas and giving directors like more of a chance to have movies like that. I wish it would be performing better because now that you're going to look at those numbers and be like, "Well, see, we did a nice thing, we did a good thing, it didn't work. This is why we don't do this." Because they're going to lose money on it, even with like international grosses, they're going to lose money on it, and I can see it becoming like a cult classic down the line. But I don't know, like if you'll see a studio now trying to give a director like that much money again to make a movie like that anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think it's like one of those points we were making. I think Owen had made the point. It's like really the only movies that are gonna make money anymore these days are goddamn comic book movies because of like how large and wide the IP spreads. It's not like when Gladiator came out 20 years ago and we're like, I'm going to fucking see a Russell Crowe movie with Ridley Scott directing. Now it's just like, like you're saying, okay, so it's like, I'm going to go see this movie directed by a guy who did The Lighthouse and a couple other movies with Alexander Skarsgård. Like, it doesn't have that feeling, but like, I was hoping it did better, but like, again, like, I hope it turns into like a cult classic where it's like, holy shit, imagine seeing this in theaters. Like, if it gets that comment.
Yeah.
So, and we're talking about the Northman.
Yeah, no, I also think that too. A lot of these sort of actor-led projects are the ones that are going straight to streaming services instead of director-led, which I actually think is a kind of a cool sort of avenue that people are going down. Where it's like, I'm going to go see this movie in the theaters because of the director, rather than going to see the new Vince Vaughn movie. I mean, Adam Sandler sold his soul to Netflix, and basically people go see the Adam Sandler movie because it's on Netflix. And not necessarily go to the theater for him. So it's actually kind of cool to see that if people really want to respect the art in the film, they go to the theater to see it for the director, which I think is actually a really cool sort of segue that things have gone on. But it does show that something like The Northman's not going to be as successful in theaters.
Which is,
yeah.
So still excited to see it, but
still don't give up on original ideas. I mean, like there's so many of them out there that deserve a chance to be seen. And, even though we all on here love comic book movies and stuff like that, we of course love other content as well. And like, I don't want to see like, I don't want to see like one type of film like saturate the market, because then it won't be fun to go see any of that stuff anymore. And I get that
like 7 or 8 book series that like, I'm like, yo, this should be a movie. Like, why isn't this a perfectly good IP? It's different from other things. But it still plays in like, detectives or spy novel shit. There's stuff out there. Hollywood's just got to get back to its roots of getting that. Like, just use books. Use books that are popular. Like, it's not hard. You don't have to make an original idea. You can just use a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I also think
we did it for No Country for Old Men. I mean, that was based on a book, and it was wildly successful.
Exactly. Yeah, and that also builds another thing too. If like you're a fan of the book, you're gonna go see the movie.
Right. And also don't give up on like platform releases too. Like I feel like The Northman could have done a little bit more or better if they gradually opened it and then made it go wide. Because what's happening with that Everything Everywhere All at Once movie is that they've slowly opened that, and it has made like a decent amount of money because they've slowly pushed it out instead of just going wide with something that is a little bit different. Everyone's not going to totally get it, but they're giving it a chance to build word of mouth before they kind of send it all the way out there. I think you should also consider that for like releases that you're not entirely sure about.
That actually like makes me think like, I mean, I don't want to go too long on it because we were only supposed to do a short little hot topic episode today, but do you think because like there's so much more accessibility to see stuff, there's so much more to do, and add in people now are like, I'm finally able to like go out and do stuff post knock on wood COVID for the rest of our lives, that that they should start releasing movies in a different way, like you're saying, like to build drum up for like it shouldn't be about opening weekend anymore. It should be about like the 45 days that it's out in theaters before it gets to streaming. Like that would be a great transition for the industry to be like, we'll release it in, you know, 3 popular markets, get that, and then
Yep.
drum it up, do that. But then I also see how it could really just tank a movie really, really badly. Like Batman
Yeah.
vs. Superman would be a very good example of like it dropped off like what, like 48% from day to day. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, to see that tiered release would be I think would alleviate studios' burdens on opening weekends to gauge movie success, because then they can, you know, 45 days it did this and like we moved it all over and it consistently drew a crowd rather than one big one and then trailing off at the end.
I think that's a tough in this day and age. It's going to be super tough to do that, especially with social media and the amount of people that are out there that are just like reviewing movies. So the day that it comes out, it's out for the public, and anyone can kind of see what it's about, read the reviews, and also the amount of marketing that is spent on these fucking movies. Like I've seen marketing stuff on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit for The Northman for like 2 months. And so like I know that it's out there. If I want to go see it, I'm going to go see it. So with the widespread like reach that social media has nowadays, doing a release like that would kill a movie if it's bad, and if it's good, people are going to be like, all right, well, I'm just going to like wait for it to come somewhere else rather than actually go see it in the theaters. So I don't know how successful that could be. I mean, it might be good for something indie.
Yeah,
but
like treating them all like that. Yeah, but like to your point, it's like if it's a show on Netflix that not everybody knows, but all of a sudden you start talking with your friends about it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this is really good. Yeah, I see the flaw in my proposal that I just spewed out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's a good thought.
And the groundswell on social media is it feels so different, because like when I was telling Jack when you stepped away, it was like when I was looking up stuff for the Northman, like just from other press people, like 2 or 3 weeks before it came out, like you would have thought it was like the second coming, like they was like praising it like it was the best thing ever, and I thought like, oh, okay, this might catch on, and then not realizing that even though there are a lot of people on Twitter and stuff talking about it, it's still like a very niche group of people discussing it, and it's not like, you know, every like a casual moviegoer being like, oh yeah, I want to kind of check that out, because I don't think a movie like that does appeal to just someone that's like, I want to go out to a movies on a Friday, I'm going to go see that. Like, you have to really want to go see it. And I think that some studios kind of like feed into that hype. They see it on social media and they're like, all right, I think we have a hit. Let's like, I feel confident. And really that hit is just like a very small, but like dedicated group of people, but it's not, you know, widespread as like they're probably thinking.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But yeah, I'm glad we had like this short little hot topics episode, and that was a good note to end it on with the box office. So like, I did want to kind of talk about the Northman a little bit, because so many people were hoping that it would do well because of the director and like and then the Nicolas Cage movie too also got great reviews. I think that's just also very a niche kind of thing too, that you just have to be into like Nicolas Cage paying Nicolas Cage. But it was cool to see like 3 movies open over the weekend that all got good reviews, and because usually that's not the case sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I just hope that like that people don't see opening weekends like this and like kind of give up on original ideas. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, dude, you know I always gotta plug you and say that Gase is probably one of the highest rated writers on Joe Blow. Come on now.
Thank you. Box office predictions are hard, and then when I'm like way off, I'm like, oh, maybe I should give up.
Don't give up, man. Don't give up.
No, sometimes the numbers are right, but the placement's wrong, and then sometimes the placement's like perfect, and then the numbers are like, oh, I was like $5 million off. Like whatever.
Yeah, well, 5 million here and there is not that bad nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna wrap us up for the night. We are recording a hopefully short one tomorrow, just for we're doing anniversaries for Spider. Well, it might be tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. But Spider-Man's 20th anniversary is next week, and Spider-Man 3's 15th is next week as well. And instead of doing 2 separate shows, we're just gonna kind of bookend them together, shooting for 30-30. Let's try to do that. 30 minutes on one, 30 minutes on the other.
All right.
And then kind of see how they stand up against each other.
Oh wait, before we cut out, we actually didn't talk about like the actual storyline of Spider-Man into the Into the Verse and like that whole entire thing because
we can talk about it. We can talk about it next time when we do our whole Spider-Man episode.
Yeah, because they did give a lot of information on like the storyline of that out because it's like we mentioned the 250 characters, but it's like it's not like the first one at all. It's going to be like very wild.
Yeah.
What we will do, we will open the Spider-Man anniversary and talk about that, and then go back to the past and relieve that. And I did say that we were going to announce this last week because like we've been trying to do these like deep dives. We were supposed to do one this week, but scheduling didn't really work out. But our big one that we're going to do for May, that's going to get released on May 13th, is that we're doing one for Friday the 13th, but like the franchise as a whole. So that is...
We're going to try and figure that out.
We're going to try and figure that out.
We're going to try and figure that out.
That is 10 movies plus Freddy vs. Jason plus the remake. I think ideally when I talk to the other people who are going to be on, they think... it'll be best to either record it one long one and then split it up into 2 episodes, 2 separate ones, have them edited into 2 separate episodes. But it should be a fun one because we have some pretty big horror movie pages that want to be a part of that discussion. So that will also be a really good time.
And everyone out there listening, I'm going to try and do my best to watch them all, but it would take me 3 months to watch them, even if I just did one a weekend. So I'm going to get through what I can, but I promise you guys, I will be trying to get through as many as I can.
And to hop on Owen's point, I'm definitely I don't really watch horror movies or this at all. So this is going to be a test of dedication to the pod and to our friendship of can we get through 10 slasher movies?
Yeah,
by the way, when we were talking about doing this, Gase offered me his 10 Blu-rays. If at the end, can anyone in the comments just let us know if you're still using Blu-rays? Because Gase is on this tirade that Blu-rays are like they're still in and people still use them. I just need to know.
Physical media is still important. Look at all of these back here. It's physical media.
Like in 10, 20 years, like those are going to be mad valuable, like baseball cards are now, but. No, you can borrow my Blu-ray player. It's like, what are you gonna bring over your PlayStation 2? But it's good if you got the setup, you got the setup. But it's like no one has Blu-rays anymore.
Yeah, I think they are on streaming. I think some of them are on Shudder and some of them are on Paramount Plus.
They're definitely on streaming services for sure.
I will send you guys some homework so you can at least watch like the first 3 or 4. Those
if
are like
there's an essential list, send us the essential list beforehand. Like the only way you can just join this conversation is if you watch, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8.
There you go. We'll figure out how to split it up. At least get through the first one, guys.
I'll do the Freddy vs. Jason one for sure.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, you know what? Between all of us, we'll get through all 12 of those movies somehow.
Let's just be the expert on 4 each.
There we go. We'll figure it out. All right, Owen. All right, send us off.
All right, guys. Yeah, just another great episode. Love even if it's just talking about some of the hot topics that are going on throughout the week. It was great to have CinemaCon drop a bunch of stuff for us to talk about today. It's just really good. I love, even though today is not Monday, we did our love talking movies with you guys on a weekday nights, and you guys can listen anywhere we listen to podcasts. So Apple Music, Spotify is where I like to listen. My cat's making an appearance, so you can see on YouTube if you'd like to check us out. And as always, just bumped the microphone. As always, just keep listening, and really appreciate you guys keep tuning in. It's been great for us to do. So please subscribe to listening as much as you can. Give us a 5-star rating if you like it, and just keep on tuning in. Appreciate it, guys.
Your assignment this week is to like, subscribe, and share this podcast, people. We need the love and comment, please. Thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, and share.